Hey, everybody. Welcome to another session of Bearing the Light. MCG is in the middle of a big Kickstarter right now, but we're all taking a break and playing some Numenera, and we could all use the break, so
Yes.
we're glad to be here. And if filming had just started just like 3 minutes earlier, you could have heard Sean and I sing a duet of the classic song Fish Heads, but it's over now. Sorry, you missed it.
I'm going to secretly record our pre show goofiness someday, and you will all rue the day.
I have no shame.
Shauna, tell us about this Kickstarter we have going on, please.
So, in case you didn't notice, we are doing a Kickstarter. It's called Your Best Game Ever, and it's for a fantastic toolbook that's full of all kinds of tips and techniques for having amazing RPG games, plus a revamped version of the Cypher System rulebook. And we have hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 stretch goals, I think, so far. And I have to say that the one that we're getting close to is sort of super near and dear to my heart. So I'm very excited about that one. So get us there, please, because I want to make a thing.
Cool. Yeah, so unless there's any other announcements, I think we can just dive right into the game. So very, very broadly, you guys left your town of Neon leading an expedition off into the wilderness to the south. Your town is located just on the very edge, sort of the the eastern edge of the Baadenu forest. And so you're kind of exploring some dry, arid land to the east of there, or you can head into the forest where everything gets, foresty. And your mission is to set up some kind of outpost so that Neon can start to conduct trade with some of the other aldeas and towns and whatnot that lie out in the wilderness. You don't have a lot of information about what's out here. This is certainly your first time, and it's the first time probably that anyone in your generation has been as far away from home as you are now. So it's exciting. You found an ancient ruin from the prior worlds, a big tall tower, and you've sort of claimed it. There are some weird intelligent insect creatures living in it, but you seem to sort of have reached a position of, well, at least detente with them. You also found another explorer who is not from Neon. His name is Ulrinic, and Ulrinic is in the process of leading you to his village, which is called Red Ridge to the south. But before we get any further or get started, let's talk about your characters. And so everybody, we'll start with Shauna. Shauna, introduce your character. But let's also talk a little bit about this is session 5. So what's happened to your character in terms of how you've changed, whether that be because you've earned some XP, or whether that be changes to your actual character.
So I'm Kin, and I'm an optimistic jack who augments flesh with graphs. And for those of you who are following along, I have a very new graph that we did last session, which is kind of awesome and weird and a whole new thing for me because it's actually part of a creature. It's not a cipher. So it was a surgery that I did with some help, and it all worked. And now I get to try to do things with it, which is pretty exciting. It's a graspy hand sort of thing that I haven't actually done very much with. So we'll see what happens. And I also just got some new skills, which I'm very excited about, which I'm going to sort of wait and hopefully get to use in the game. And it's all Elden's fault in a good way.
And that's because you are now 3rd tier, right?
I am 3rd tier, yes.
Exciting.
I hoarded my XP.
Cool. Just to remind everybody, we started these characters at 2nd tier, and but but we've been playing a while now, so welcome to third tier. Sean, why don't you go next?
I'm playing Tayrog, a clever delve who lives in the wilderness, and living around Neon, there wasn't anything that was super, super dangerous, but he's kind of had this like survivor mentality, being the youngest of a bunch of kids who had to fend for himself. And now that we're roaming farther and dealing with weird creatures of the Numenera and dangerous locations, I've really had to like turn up my awareness of dangerous things and how to deal with them. And I seem to have sort of been in the role of the most martial sort of person in the group because we've got all these talky people and inventive people. I'm the one who's like good at taking a punch to the face. So I've worked on making myself a lot more durable just so that if I survive, then I know that I can get them out of trouble.
Cool. Bruce, you go next.
Hey, I'm playing Kuo, who's a serene right, and I focus mind over matter, so I have mental powers. But I focused a lot so far in this campaign on my ability to build things, and I still remain very proud of the fact that I built a water purifier back at this outpost which we claimed in that old ruin. Other than that, he tries to kind of take things in and not react instantly. But he does remain concerned to this day with Elden's safety, mainly because Elden is a Vargellan, and Kuo apparently has some belief that Vargellan are perhaps above humanity, or at least different than humanity.
I didn't realize that was why. I don't think Elden knows either, but that's very charming. So Elden is a Vargellan Arcus who crafts illusions, and yeah, Elden has been a little bit out of their element because we haven't really been around communities of people, which is really what Elden's specialized and worked at getting sort of adept at working with, right? Elden spent a lot of time trying to figure out these humans and hasn't mastered it, but is able to, kind of inspire people and, is really about kind of being in a big community of people. So Elden has really relied a lot on their friends. But I think Elden finds Kin's like ability to graft things very charming and hilarious. So definitely fascinated by that. And yeah, how they've also changed, I guess. I mean, one thing I think we're about to see is, so there was some time past when we had found that big, cool prior world ruin, and we were spending some time setting up camp. And once we had sort of reached that truce with the strange insect kind of folks, and so I think that's sort of when Elden did not go all the way up to third tier, but has worked on some various, has spent a lot of time moving their crucible around and sort of learning how to work at being a bit more dexterous or working at how to be a bit more hardy. So they've had 3 advancements so far. They can spend some more effort, and I think now is the perfect time to show something that I don't know if you all are ready for. So surprise. This is something from Gen Con. It's Operation Vargellan Edition. And inside, okay, is a Vargellan with various organs that you can move around. So there's there's a couple of brains in there and some chicken legs. So that's Vargellan.
That's
Who made
awesome.
that? That's amazing.
That was Gray Detrick. Gray was amazing and made all of that. So we'll put pictures on social media, but that's Vargellan, always in flux. So
It is just a constant game of operation with you, isn't it?
yes.
And what's the name of that thing that you do to move your guts around? Your juice bowl?
Juice bowl.
Yeah.
It's called Crucible.
All right.
Tayrog, will you ever learn?
That.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, and I guess the other thing I wanted to say is Elden has never really been around a lot of other Vargellan, and we have heard that Red Ridge is going to have kind of a sizable population of them. So I'm eager to see how we interact.
All right, cool. Well, with all that in mind, the 4 of you plus Ulrich have traveled for a few days. They've been long days of travel, but not a lot going on. And you are crossing. It's mostly kind of dry, hilly uh, terrain with the occasional like small copse of trees, and sometimes a creek kind of runs through it, whatnot. But the going has not been very tough, just long. And you probably have. Oh, Riddick told you how far the trip was going to be, so you brought plenty of supplies, not only for the trip there, but for the trip back. And Tayrog, you've done some hunting. You said you were going to do that in order to, show up at this town with even more than the normal amount of food. And why don't you make a roll for that, just as a general kind of see how you did. And you could apply effort to that from almost any pool you wanted to.
Well, I have an effort score of 2, so I'm going to apply 2 levels of effort because I want to make a really good impression to Old Rennick's town.
Okay.
And I roll a 4.
Okay. You used 2 levels of effort though, so you eased it by 2 steps. So you still have a moderate amount of game, but it is not. You were maybe had started off on the trip with visions of giant full packs and whatnot, and you're kind of showing up with a fair amount.
I was probably chatting up, Kuo, you're going to need to build a wagon to carry all the stuff I'm going to be hunting us to bring to this town. But no.
As you get closer to Red Ridge, Ulrich gets chattier, and he's already kind of a chatty sort anyway. And he is saying that oh, wait until you eat the roasted grin. Oh wow, they make grin like you've never had in Red Ridge. Now as I said, times are a little lean, but I'm sure you being visitors, they'll put out a spread. And he says, just over this ridge, we'll start to see the tops of the rooftops, I think. If we just kind of go over here, and then he kind of stops in mid-sentence. And when you follow the direction of his gaze, you see that there's a field. It's kind of up the side of this hill, and at the top of the hill, there is what looks like a small wooden cart that has some kind of beast lashed to it, to pull it. But there is clearly there's some kind of physical activity going on around it, and it takes you just a second to realize there's like a fight going on around this wagon, and there are multiple people involved. What do you do?
Can I get there really fast? I'm wearing the bounding boots.
You can get there before anybody else, I'm certain.
All right, I will run down there.
Okay, you take off. What do the rest of you do?
Is it all people? No creatures or anything that's not human appearing?
Do you want to take as your first action to kind of assess the situation?
Yes, please.
Then what, Kin, what you determine is that it is some humans and some Vargellan, like your friend Elden. And you can actually even determine that it's the humans versus the Vargellan in this fight. You can see that one of the humans has like a spade, a farm working tool, and they're kind of defending themselves with it. One of the Vargellan just has a big rock, and they're kind of swinging it to make attacks. It does not, to you, look like the kind of, like, these guys aren't trying to. This is not. They are not. Neither side appears to be particularly bloodthirsty. It seems to be more anger than anything. Kuo, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna ask Ulredic, why are these people fighting? Do you know?
He looks more stunned than you do.
Ah,
And he just shakes his head and doesn't say anything.
then I follow Tayrog.
Okay.
And
Elden, what are you
I-
going to do?
I start to move the very tips, the furthest of my phalanges in a very specific motion. I'm gonna try to cast oh, this is within immediate range. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna walk forward a bit and then bring up a minor illusion. It's going to be of there were those big bird things, right? That we had seen up above us. This is some ways away. What's something that would what's a creature local to the Ba Adinu forest? I think there's ravaged bears are here, aren't there?
You saw a ravage bear.
Yeah, so with it fresh in my mind, I'm going to create the image of a small but fierce and noise-making ravage bear. So it's going to fit within a 10-foot cube, but they are nasty no matter what size they are. And I'm going to have it bound, sort of bound from behind a tree near me and enter the fray. Or at least get close and roar, right? I can make it make sound.
So this altercation is happening about a long distance away from you.
Okay.
So
So it won't be that close to them, but that's okay.
okay, you still want to just kind of move as far as you can and then make this thing and
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would like you to do is roll for that illusion.
Yes. Makes sense. I'd like to spend 2 levels of effort as I really try to I would like to stop everyone in their tracks, right? So I'm going to be thinking about exactly how that thing roared and trying to get that, even if the image doesn't really convince them, hopefully that sound will give us a moment to break in. So I'll spend 2 levels of effort. It's really going to take a lot out of me, but let's see how it goes. Okay, I rolled a 9, so
Okay.
it's a 5. And I am trained in deceiving, in case that helps.
Oh, nice. That definitely applies. Okay, so this horrible ravage bear, and if you can make it fit within a 10-foot cube, that's a good sized ravage bear. So this ravage bear, there's just a small little nearby grouping of trees, but coming out of it is this giant ravage bear, and it even as you get almost there, Tayrog, the fight stops, and immediately there are 4 humans and 3 Varjellen you can see, and Tayrog, you now have the sort of the best look at them, and the humans just all immediately just yell, cry out, ah, and you're not even really entirely sure that they know what they're seeing. One of them just says, oh, what is that? And they all just begin running over the top of the hill. And the Varjellen, it's harder to tell what their reactions are, but they also stopped and are looking at the ravage bear, but they're also looking at you. And if you had to guess, they seem a little confused, but that's only because you have spent some time with Elden, and if their reactions are like Elden's reactions, then maybe they're confused and also a little afraid.
I'd like to speak to them.
Okay.
I just want to put my hands up and have any weapons and say, you're under no threat of harm here. We have come from afar. We've brought someone from your town, Ulrenic, that we rescued. We're here to help. We just stop fighting. You just stop fighting right now.
And the one that's holding the rock looks past you and points at something over your shoulder and says, "Be wary, human."
I'll turn around and see what this gentleman is pointing at.
It's an enormous ravage bear.
And that wasn't there 10 seconds ago.
No.
Do I see Elden making, their concentration face?
Yes.
I kind of like wave them off. Stop doing that. It's okay. Don't turn back to this Vargellen. It's all right. It's just a distraction to get you and the humans to stop fighting.
Kin, what would you like to do at this point? You're muted.
Stupid mute button. I'm so excited that Elden is making an illusion that I make an illusion too because I haven't done it yet. And so I create an image of myself in immediate range that looks just like me.
Okay.
Elden's eyes go even wider.
And I say, Elden, look!
What is it? Do you control it? Does it just do what you?
I can make it move, but at first I'm just make it. So it'll last for 10 minutes and it moves as I direct it.
Why don't you roll and see how good of a job you do at making it?
All right, I roll a 16.
Nice. All right, it looks just like you. It's a perfectly crafted illusion, and you're calling out for Elden. Look, Elden, what's your reaction to that?
Is it really close to me or?
It has to be within immediate range of me, so I imagine it's just like immediately right in
Perfect.
front of me.
Both Elden and the Ravage Bear turn their heads to you and give a beastly roar. Whether that's a roar of approval or who could say, really. But you are acknowledged.
Kuo, what do you do? You're behind Tayrog. You're catching up to him. He's talking to these Vargellen, and the humans have already run away.
I'm going to stop where I am and just keep an eye on this Ravage Bear. I'm 80% sure it's Elden's, but if I'm wrong, I want to run back. So I'm just watching the situation.
So one of the other Vargellen looks at the Ravage Bear, who now turns away from them and roars at these other people, and he just says, "This is nonsense." And
I agree.
And they walk over to the wagon, which is hitched to what looks like some sort of large flightless bird, but really big with brilliant kind of violet feathers, particularly in a ridge running down its back. It's harnessed to the wagon, and they go over and they grab a set of reins in front of the creature, and they begin leading it away. And they are not headed in the same direction as the humans.
Elden will let the illusion of the Ravage Bear dissipate. Are they walking away from us then, presumably? Still?
Mm-hmm. Just said, "This is nonsense."
Where's Ulrenic in all this?
Ulrenic comes running up, and he says, "What's going on? What was all this fight about?"
We don't know.
And the Vargellen aren't answering him, and the humans are already over the other side of the hill. So nobody seems to respond to him.
I want to just kind of get in front of the Vargellen that initially I was talking with, and if it refuses to look at me, I'm going to just kind of gently take it by the arm and say, "Please talk to us. Answer the question. We need to know what's going on here."
Okay, well, so that's the one who's grabbing the reins of this creature, and it kind of waves at you dismissively, and as you are moving to grab its arm, they are not going to let you grab their arm. So if you want to do that, you're going to have to make a roll. He's actively pulling away from you.
How close is Elden to me?
A long distance.
Okay, so I will grab at their arm, and I'm going to point at Elden and say, "I would like you to speak to my Vargellen friend if you won't speak to me."
Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
I roll a 19.
Ooh.
Okay. What would you like your minor special effect to be with that roll?
The action of grabbing them will slightly spin them so that they'll be facing in the direction where Elden is, so they're already looking where I'm pointing.
Okay. That goes exactly like you describe. That Varjellen is now looking at Elden, and the Varjellen, one of the other Varjellen, attacks you.
Oh boy.
Says, "Hands off, human!" and just swings at you with its fist.
All right, speed defense.
Yes.
I roll an 11.
Okay.
But, hold on. Sorry. I am... I'm not trained in speed defense. Sorry, I have a lot of armor. Go on.
Okay. That is still good enough. As the swing was just sort of more reflexive than like super well aimed or anything like that. So you duck out of the way, but again, as we sort of determined last time, it's really tough to know when a Varjellen. It's tough for a human to know when a Varjellen is angry, and or not angry, as the case may be. That's what happened last time. But so the expression does not match the words or the action. It's just kind of got this sort of blank, wide-eyed look at you as it swings at you. And the Varjellen that you grab, that you've turned looking toward Elden, says, shouting out toward Elden, says, "Comrade, are you all right?"
Fascinating. These humans are my entourage. Please leave them be. They are still learning our ways. I lie out of my ass, lying or loudly. So I'll be sort of trying to get closer to them, but I'm going to be shouting for them to stop fighting Tayrog.
Okay. Weirdly, Elden, you are also finding these Varjellen hard to read.
Ooh.
Like their reactions and their expressions and whatnot aren't as intuitive as you. They're as hard to read for you as humans.
Wow. Oh man, this is gonna be tough.
And the one that you have by the arm looks at you, Tayrog, and says, "Explain."
I say, we have come from very far away, and we heard about your town from Ulrenik here. We wanted to see what we could do to help with your situation where you're having food shortages. We do not wish any harm on either you or the humans of this town. We don't know why you're fighting. I don't want to see anybody come to harm, and I know what it's like to be hungry, so I'm just here to help.
He makes a very exaggerated shake of his head, as though it almost seems as though he's mimicking something, the way he's just doing it so sort of awkwardly. And he says, or they say, "We are not of the humans' town."
I misunderstood.
But neither are you.
True. So if you have any complaints about the humans of this town, that should not apply to me and my friends.
You must. If you wish kindness, you must deserve it, he says. And by this point, you are all close.
And to that I respond, do you mean kindness or fairness?
He just blinks his big white eyes at you.
think they want you to let go of its arm.
Oh, I definitely let go of its arm.
Okay. That, again, tough to see, but maybe he relaxes a little bit after you let go of him.
And I will say,
And they look at...
Sorry.
Well, you begin maybe to say something, and they are clearly now ignoring you and looking at Elden. And it might be with curiosity, it might be with suspicion. It's hard to say. But the one that you've been talking to seems to do most of the talking here, and they say, you are one of us, but you are not of us. Tell us how this came to be.
Excellent. Elden raises their spine, their long axis, and they start to exhibit this demeanor of command. And so those of you who have seen this in action before, it's a bit of a trial and error process. So you see, postures that might work around humans, and you can see Elden constantly shifting little micro expressions, trying to find out what, as they talk, what they're sort of responding to. So this is what lets me sort of emote confidence and knowledge and power in front of new populations. So I may have to roll to see if that actually takes with them, but it would give me some sway with them if I can get it. So I'm not going to spend any effort here because I might need it for the persuasion. Okay. I only roll an 8, so I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for these folks. I am trained in persuasion and things like that, understanding motivations.
They don't react to your demeanor, your change in demeanor at all.
Okay.
Still looking at you with the question still hanging in the air.
Excellent. Then why I have never been around our kind in great numbers, so my apologies as our habits may differ. I come from Neon, and a community not long from here, as we attempt to establish trade and further communication with other communities in this area. I tell them a little bit of, the wondrous things we saw along the way and the dangers therein. And I ask,
Rinnick interrupts you as you start going on, and he just says, "Look, why were you fighting those men out here in the field?" And they stop, kind of visibly startled, because they were very engrossed in Elden's story, and they seem to kind of glare at Ulrinic, and they say, "Because humans resort to violence," they say enigmatically.
Okay.
I'm going to actually just grab Ulrinic and say, how about you and I go for a walk?
He says, "Good idea. Let's walk to Red Ridge," he says, pointing off in the direction that you were going.
I will walk with you toward the town.
Okay, well, according to him, it's literally just over the top of this hill, so it's not far.
My intent is to get him away from these other Vargellans so that Elden can talk to them without him having outbursts.
Are Tayrog and Ulrinic going to go by themselves?
My double and I are looking back and forth at each other right now. I don't know what to do.
I will stay with Elden.
Okay.
Somewhat protectively.
Okay. I guess I wasn't clear about this, but like none of these Vargellan look particularly hurt from the altercation. And then when you saw the humans run off, they didn't really either. I mean, they looked sort of more dirty from the scuffle than, and maybe one guy had like a fat lip or something, but it wasn't
murderous or deadly. Yeah, I mean, okay, so if Tayrog's able to take away Ulrinic a little bit.
So the Vargellan look back at Elden, and they all three of them in unison say, "Continue."
Oh no. um, yeah, I continue to explain how Ulrinic was one of Redridge's uh, community members who we had found and were returning to discover more about this area. Um, we are also told that there is a community of Varjellen nearby. Are you far? May we visit you? We are trying to understand more about this area.
They pause for probably a good 10 seconds, and finally say, yes, our settlement is farther down the river.
Uh,
If you go to the human town first, come see us later. You will not be welcome.
oh no.
I look to Elden and I say, well, we should clearly go to the Vargillan community then.
Uh, uh, Let us do that. Um, so old Orinic is probably just still up the hill, right? So I can call.
Right?
Tayrog, we will visit the human village um, later.
The Varjellen kind of the three Varjellen there kind of exchange some glances, um, and then they look at Kuo and they look at Kin, and they say, or they're both Kin, I guess,
Yeah.
and say, um, humans bring violence.
uh, they can be tools for good as well. They are coming with me.
All right, you will need to persuade them,
Happy
it looks
to.
like.
This is non-negotiable. I will spend. I'm trained, and I will spend a level of effort.
Okay.
And I roll a 13, so not bad.
Nice. They pause again and they say, well, you vouch for them, and they are not from Red Ridge.
Correct on both accounts.
We will give them the opportunity to earn kindness.
Okay, excellent. I rally everyone together, and I'm. Do we have the rest of our entourage behind, or we left most people?
You left
Basically
everybody
everybody.
and the wagons and all those things back in the outpost, so
Great. Then it's just
it's
us.
just the five of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
Tayrog, you and Ulrenic got to the top of the hill, and so you can see over the top of the hill, and you can see some of Red Ridge. And in the first thing that strikes you is, you understand why it's called that, because there is this huge ridge that rises up over the terrain, and it is of reddish colored rock. Um, you also see, however, that you see the basically like the rooftops of some houses and whatnot over the top of a gentle rise beyond the one that you stand on. But clearly, in the center of town, there is a structure much larger than the rest. It seems it's almost like a rounded cone shape structure, and it seems to be a structure of wood and stone that has been built around something that you can't quite make out, but something that's moving, maybe spinning inside, but you can see through gaps in the structure. You can see something just kind of rhythmically, not and kind of slowly moving.
and right around this time is when Elden calls out to me.
Yes.
It didn't sound like they were asking. It sounded like a command. That's my impression of what they said. They said it like a command.
Elden?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
Okay. So I will turn to Orenic and I'll ask, can you get to your house from here? Like, it sounds like we need to go talk to the Vargellan to de-escalate whatever this fight is about. And we can come meet you later.
All right.
But you're home now, so you're safe, right?
Sure. And I think you should come with me. Warm beds, warm food.
I definitely want to stay in your town, but the three of them are not good in a fight. And just in case things turn bad with Vargellan, I want to make sure they're okay.
There's not going to be a fight.
We just saw a fight happen.
Oh, you know, they're just getting their aggression out. You know, it's probably just some young men in the town. Don't worry about that.
I'm kind of responsible for them. I feel responsible for them. But we'll come back and we'll check in with you in your town, and you can show us what, introduce us to your brother.
All right.
We'll be back soon.
While those guys are talking, I'll bring all the meat around in the little small, tiny wagon sledge that I built, rather than a full wagon to give to Tayrog and Ulrenic, since Ulrenic's going to go.
Mm.
You okay? Since I can see Tayrog up there talking to Ulrenic, I'm just going to bring the meat up and say, "Here, take Tayrog's, offering, and as Tayrog said, we'll join you in just a bit."
All right. Well, we'll be looking out for you. We'll set some places at the table.
Great. Thanks, Ulrenic. We'll see you later.
All right.
Welcome home. And I'll walk back to the rest of our group.
Okay.
To kindness.
Thanks, Kuo.
Okay. So the one Vargellan who's you've been talking with the most, they say, actually, there are enough Vargellan to know that the similarities between you and them are enough to know that Idedemoth this one has actually chosen a gender, and he is at least currently male. And he says, "My name is Idedemoth. What name do you go by?"
This one is Elden. I introduce, whether or not this Idedemoth is at all interested, I introduce my compatriots and treat my companions with respect. This is Tayrog, Kin, and Kuo.
They look at each of you in turn, and they say, "Follow us." And they take their bird-drawn cart with them, and you kind of go the other, not fully the other direction, maybe about a 90-degree turn from where the humans went, and the way Ulrenic went. And you descend down the side of the hill, basically kind of as you were approaching, it would be toward your right. And there is a small river or large creek, depending on what you want to call it, kind of running down there. And there's a path running along it that they then begin to follow.
Elden, why were they fighting the humans?
I wish I knew.
They seem different than you.
They seem quite different.
You too?
Unfortunately. They are very difficult for me to understand right now, but I will try. I am on the lookout for any tensions between the two communities. Perhaps this is the food-related shortage that our friend Ulrenic told us about.
Maybe I shouldn't have given all of Tayrog's meat away to the Red Ridge.
All right. On this path, there's the river on as you're walking. The river's on your right, and on your left, you're passing by some fields, and these fields don't look good. Tayrog, you're probably the most familiar with plants and growing things and crops and whatnot. I mean, I know you're not a farmer, but you probably have a better relationship or better knowledge base than the rest. And yeah, it just looks like they're having a bad year. It doesn't look. I mean, the crops aren't dead, but they're poor. The growth seems to be stunted, and um, you'd say probably about 25% of this probably just isn't going to have any yield at all. But if you follow Adetamoth and the others, they lead you to a place where there is a waterfall that not a huge waterfall, but a sort of a moderate waterfall that comes into a pool, and then that moves into the large creek that you've been following. And around this pool, uh, kind of using a lot of the natural rocks and even some of the like small caves and whatnot around here, there is clearly a settlement, but it's not just rocks and caves. There are beautifully colored cloth awnings that are suspended on poles that kind of make almost like open pavilions. And you see what look like maybe you'd guess 20 or so Varjellen. And as you approach, another Varjellen comes up and approaches you. First approaches Adetamoth and the other Varjellen, but clearly is mostly interested in you. Again, tough to tell, but maybe with a little bit of alarm. But the Varjellen that you see, it's not like they're like grabbing weapons or anything like that, but they seem to kind of be looking at you askance a little bit, with a little bit of worry and distrust.
Are they just as I get a good look at this at first, I probably say something like, it's beautiful, and I sort of pull my lips back from my teeth and what might be a snarl, but you all know to be like I'm being sort of moved with, overwhelmed with beauty. I make that face a lot at cute fluffy things. It's sort of I'm impressed by its beauty. But how are these Varjellen dressed? Are they in armor? I'm in sort of a big like kind of trench coaty thing, and I've very much adopted human dress that's been around me. Do they look really different?
Most of them seem to be wearing things that look like medium length skirts or kilts. Most of them are bare chested. But some of them have some kind of elaborate shoulder adornments and like big heavy necklaces. There definitely seems to be a real flair for color here. Almost, particularly to the humans among you, to be almost kind of garish. Colors that you wouldn't normally think of as going together. But Elden, you probably find it to be appealing. And you can also see that to one side of this little settlement, there's a small little wooden pen where there are 3 more of these flightless birds. And one of the Varjellen takes the bird over there. And the Varjellen that approaches you says, these Varjellen seem to be addressing each other in the truth, not in some other tongue. And so the one that comes up says to Adetamoth, you're bringing strangers here. Why? And Idanemoth motions toward Elden and says, they are not of us, but they are one of us.
Elden sort of jumps in. I am Elden, and these humans are with me, and they are under my protection. And all four of us are here and need to speak to your leading individual or individuals. Please show me to them.
And Idanemoth says, you address Azanzar.
Excellent.
Is that a Zanzar or Zanzar?
Azanzar.
Elden goes, sort of flutters their large head fin and sort of stretches it out very, very far and does kind of something akin to a bow, sort of makes a motion that who knows if they will understand as one of respect, but it is at least practiced and concerted. We are trying to understand some violence we saw on the road between your community and the humans. Please allow us to sit with you and understand from your wisdom the events and the dangers and the wonders that go on in this place. It is as a personal delight to be able to meet one who is not of us, but one who is one of us.
Azanzar turns to Idanemoth and says, another altercation?
Ooh.
And Idanemoth says, it could not be avoided. And Azanzar says, have you come here bringing aid?
We come here hoping to make friends, in which case perhaps we could provide you aid in order to secure your friendship. I say from Elden's left shoulder.
He says, I'm sorry. Azanzar says, what aid is this that you're offering?
What is the nature of your troubles? I noticed. Why do the crops wither in the fields? Is that the nature of your troubles? Or is there something else? Or some root cause that we can perhaps provide aid with?
Your aid is to ask us questions?
Ooh.
I will step in and say something and say, we couldn't help but notice that you seem to be having a bad season, and I am skilled in finding food in the wilderness, and I would be happy to offer my knowledge and assistance. Perhaps someone who is able to give a different perspective on the ways of hunting and trapping might have advice that would lead to more successful times for you.
The fields are not ours. They are the humans of Red Ridge.
We have traveled far. We have many types of expertise, and we only wish to understand where they are best applied. Do you also suffer from similar resource inadequacies as the nearby community? Do I look around and see that they're kind of gaunt, or interesting, or is it merely the tensions between yourselves and the humans? As you might see, the four of us are adept at traveling between the two worlds, although I am a bit new to your practices.
We have dealt with the humans for many years. We find them enigmatic and confusing, but tolerable.
And yet,
They, however, have decided that we are not tolerable.
that is a decision we may be able to bring them to change. Would that be of interest to you?
That is the aid you have come to offer?
Yes. Let us resolve their violence toward you.
How will you do this?
They may be strange, but these three humans are the bridge between, clearly, between Vargellan and other human settlements. They have expertise they may offer that community to entice them. We have words and ideas to express, and occasionally we've been known to use the Numenera when other aspects fail us.
Sometimes humans act irrationally when their resources come under threat, and if this human town of Red Ridge's resources are under threat, perhaps we can provide them what they need, and their rationality will resurface.
Their crops are faring poorly, and one of their granaries burned down.
Hopefully you guys did not burn that down.
An odd thing happens when you say that. Azenzar doesn't really react, but you notice that just on the edge of your conversation, because the ones that the Vargellan that you came with have kind of left, except for Idedemoth. But so Idedemoth is kind of nearby, but so are a couple of others. And when you say that, they kind of exchange some typically enigmatic sort of looks, but it definitely gets a reaction out of them. But Azenzar does not react.
I'm just going to assume that they were shocked at my rudeness.
Okay.
Azenzar and your comrades allow us to go to Red Ridge and return when we have effected change.
We are not detaining you.
We were told that we will not be allowed to re-enter this community if we visit Red Ridge. Is that by your decree, or is that Idedemoth's opinion?
Zanzar looks at Idedemoth.
I'm totally willing to get him in hot water.
and then looks like maybe Zanzar's going to say something to Idedemoth, but then doesn't, and just says to you, "You have given us no reason to believe that you can't come and go as you please."
We will return soon. In some days.
It is.
Oh, is it night?
It is probably about an hour before sunset.
Can we make it to Red Ridge in that time?
Oh yeah,
they're so close, right?
Super close. Yeah. It's you're gonna guess maybe a 10-minute walk at most.
Okay.
So probably less than a mile.
Elden is going to look longingly at the waterfall and these cool awnings and all this color and all these interesting, strange beings like them, but turn to Kin and Tayrog and Kuo. Perhaps we should go to Red Ridge now, or would you prefer to stay here?
Let's go to Red Ridge. Ulrenik is waiting for us.
Mm-hmm. Elden turns back to the group of Vargellan assembled before them and does that same fin upright and sort of bow situation that they did before, and then turns about and gets back on the road away, back to Red Ridge, trying not to piss anybody off while I'm here.
Make a social interaction roll.
Okay. I have training in visually perceiving, understanding motivations. I feel like that's the only things that might be.
That absolutely
or
applies.
Persuasion. Yeah. Cool. Understanding motivation. Ooh, I only roll a 5. I've got some training.
Okay. Then when you do that, Zanzar makes a gesture and kind of does this sort of sideways lean thing, and you have no idea what it means.
Okay.
But it seems to be in response to what you just
A
did.
gesture and a sideways lean. Noted, but not understood. All right.
Okay.
As we walk, I have a couple of questions for Elden.
Yeah, let's walk and talk as soon as we're out of earshot.
Okay.
So I noticed their little village has a lot of really bright colors and strange color combinations. Is that normal for your people? Because it reminds me of this one time I ate a zog lizard and I didn't sleep for 4 days. And all things look really bright and swirly.
uh, I find it pleasing, but I have never experienced it before. It is certainly nothing that the Vargel I knew displayed. Although perhaps I should try. Um, I find the entire assemblage of Vargelin a little unnerving. Um, how do you feel? I turn to the rest of you. What are your impressions? Perhaps I am as good an estimator of their nature as all of us are.
I thought it was amazing.
Ooh.
They're a little weird. But I had another question for you, though. So I noticed most of them were wearing, they were like bare chested in their clothing. Is that because you need access to your juice bowl to do that? Is that a common thing?
Crucible.
One
That's what I said.
reforges our crucible. Um, that is an astute observation. Perhaps they are frequently rearranging their crucible by the process of reforging. Would you like to say those words with me? uh, that is quite possible. I find it tended to unnerve humans I was around, so I attempt to cover it. Although I don't know if that is something you appreciate about me or don't care for.
Oh, I've seen people give birth. I've yanked parasites out of animals. That so doesn't bother me at all. You can do whatever you want to your chest hole.
What a comparison. Thank you. It's good to know I can be free around you. Kin, uh, you tend to have a bright perspective when we meet new people. What is your perspective on these? And I assume we're about getting to the Red Ridge now. Do you find optimism in them? Do you find hope there, or do you have an unnerving feeling as I do?
They made me sad.
Oh,
They don't. They don't. There's nothing exciting and happy about them. I thought we were going to be friends, and they were rude, and I didn't like it.
Did you notice that reaction they had when I mentioned the not burning down the granary? Granary. Was that surprise or guilt? I
ooh.
could not tell.
Could I try to ascertain a little better now that I have a minute as to whether I think that was guilt or do I still have no idea?
You could try, sure.
Yeah, I'd like to spend a little level of effort, and I have a skill in understanding motivations, which I think probably
Hmm.
would apply. And I am rolling hot tonight. I rolled a 4, so that's only a level 3. Dang.
I'm gonna give you an XP to reroll that
Are
one. But
you okay?
just
Thank
so we
you.
can figure
This
out.
is this could be helpful. I appreciate it. Ooh, a 16, much better. +2, eased by 2 levels.
Um, you're not 100% certain because it's weird, but if you had to guess, you would say that it's not guilt, but it was exchanges of like knowing glances, like they know, at least some of them know more than what was actually being said.
Mm.
There's more going on than what they were letting on.
Um,
But remember that Azanzar did not do that. It was Idamoth and some of the others.
okay,
Azanzar didn't react at all when Kuo said that.
excellent. I relay that. Uh, hopefully when we have, perhaps we will find new things to investigate that avenue of what they might know that they were not letting on, as we speak to the Red Ridge community members.
Okay. So, like I was saying earlier to Tayrog, as you get close to Red Ridge is this pretty good sized community, lots of buildings and homes, mostly stone and wood, more stone than wood. Uh, and some, but not all, appears to be that kind of reddish tinted stone that you see in the ridge. And you also can see that on the outskirts, because you're approaching kind of through the fields a little bit at this point, because you don't have to go all the way back to where you were and then around. You can kind of take a quicker path from the edge of the river through some fields to the town. And so that means you pass by 3 granaries, big, tall, wooden, round, kind of like stubby towers, really. And sure enough, one of them is just a burnt remains, just entirely burned down. And in fact, the one next to it is a little bit blackened from probably smoke or heat. And in the middle of town, though, is by far the most sort of impressive structure, at least 3 times taller than any other structure in the town. And it is this kind of almost cone-like structure with a bit of a rounded top, and basically made of stone and wood with wide slats in between that give an opening into what is inside this thing. And it seems to be just a single structure with a single chamber inside of it. And in the middle of it, there is something very, very large kind of moving in a steady sort of rhythmic kind of pattern. And all around it, there are stone steps that lead up to it, the entry to which it seems rather grand. But it's definitely not. It's not like a prior world structure. It's made of wood and stone, of the same types that the rest of the town is made out of. And so you're coming in. It's almost sundown. There's lots of people, kind of clearly probably headed home and whatnot. And you immediately draw attention, and maybe that's because you're strangers in town, and maybe that's because you've got a Vargellan with you, but people are stopping and kind of staring and not approaching, just staring at you with one cocked brow.
Tayrog, do you know where Ulrenic told us to meet him?
No, but I think he lives with his brother. So, and this doesn't seem to be, a gigantic village. You probably just ask people where. Well, let's walk up to somebody.
Ulrenic would have told you that his brother's name is Jaffin.
Okay. Then I'm just going to walk up to somebody who looks like not an idiot and say, hey, we're trying to find our friend Ulrenic or his brother Jaffin. Do you know where they live?
Yeah. Just down this road, a few houses down. Where are you from?
We're from another village called Neon, but we just came back with Ulrenic. We were exploring ruin of the Numenera.
And why have you brought them? Pointing at the Vargellan.
Oh, that's a friend of ours. They're not with the ones down the road, so don't worry about them.
Not with them? What does that mean?
They don't live there. They live in our village.
You've got Vargellan where you live too?
Well, we got one.
Doesn't everyone?
Okay.
Thanks for the directions. We're going to go.
Okay. When you walk by them and a few of the others, they're looking at you, a mixture of curiosity and suspicion, and in particular Elden, but no one's actually stopping you or accosting you in any way.
Elden, can you make an illusion of like a big hat or a mask over your face?
Uh, as we're walking, indeed am pulling sort of a hood I have behind, and the head fin goes down a bit, and I'm used, I'm pulling out a paste that I spread sort of on the little bit of exposed neck and face. I'm working a bit of disguise as sort of trying to furtively kind of just be more hooded, and I have most of my body covered anyway, so I just look kind of like an abnormally tall humanoid.
Okay.
So I'll be kind of working on that as we go. Probably not can't do a great job, but hopefully we'll attract less attention.
Okay. You're just trying to keep a lower profile. Okay, great. Um, you you don't get too much farther. I mean, there's probably 100 to 120 buildings in this town total. And but before you see an open doorway, and Ulrinic pops his head out. It kind of looks like he's sort of been checking for a while now, and then his eyes get big. There you are. Come on. And it's a rather simple looking single story house. Probably's got no more than 3 rooms in it, stone and wood. You can, as you approach, though, you can smell the sounds of a meal almost ready, or the sounds. You can hear the sounds, but you can also smell the odors of a meal almost ready.
Does it smell good? Does it smell unfamiliar? Maybe it's this roasted grin we heard about.
It smells good. It smells like roasted meat and maybe some vegetables.
Maybe one of the animals that you killed was a grin.
And in fact, you see Kuo's makeshift cart parked in front of this house, but the meat's not in it anymore. And so he brings you in to the house, and you see a man, and we've got a illustration of this dude, but he's older. Ulrinic is probably in his mid to late 30s, but this guy is probably at least 15 years older than Ulrinic, dressed in garb that kind of looks pretty typical for the rest of the town and the other people that you saw, kind of loose-fitting kind of robes and a hat. And it is this man who is busily making dinner over the fire. And as you come in, he straightens up and kind of gives this crooked smile, and he says, you must be Ulrinic's friends.
We were happy to find him in this ruin. We were all exploring together, and he had us come back here, so thank you so much for your hospitality.
And he says, I hear my brother probably wouldn't even have made it if it wasn't for you. So I guess I have you to blame for that. And he says, my name's Jaffin. Take a seat. And there aren't quite enough chairs in here for everyone, but they have like some pillows and stuff on the floor, and they've done what they could to make room for everyone.
Elden takes back the hood and smooths off some of the paste and aligns their head fin and says, thank you so much. My presence is not particularly welcome in this entire community, so I thank you additionally for welcoming us in. Ulrinic, and I talked to Ulrinic's brother. Your brother was a fine survivalist. You should feel proud of him that he lasted so long with such a static body. I'm trying to give a compliment, and I don't know how it's going.
With a static body.
You did good.
Jaffin just he smiles and he says, he does all right. Taught him everything that I know. And he says, I just want you to know that, specifically talking to Galen, he says, I understand you're not with those troublemakers. You're from somewhere else, so I'm not going to hold what you are against you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We need to know more. If we are able to dine with you and speak. There seemed to be a burned granary down the road. What is the nature of its demise?
Oh yeah, like I said, troublemakers. Ulrenic says, Ulrenic kind of shrugs and he says, yeah, apparently everybody says it was the Varjellen who burned that down. They're trying to drive us out.
Do you think the Varjellen are also making your crops poor? Because that sounds stupid.
So Jaffin says, that does sound stupid. Why would we think that?
Well, 6 of one, 11 of the other.
Jaffin turns towards his brother and he says, I think that one needs a drink. And they produce this clay jug, pull out a stopper, and pour everybody a drink of something that smells strongly alcoholic. And then Jaffin specifically looks at Kin and says, and what was your name, pretty lady?
I'm a he, but my name is Kin.
Oh, sorry,
Speaking
Shauna.
of needing a drink.
Sorry, Shauna.
It's all good.
That's my bad.
I say I also find the gendering difficult. And give him a bit of a pat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll take that drink now.
Rewind. I forgot.
It's all good. It's hard without place cards.
He does say though. So what's your name?
I'm Kin. I have also dropped my illusion somewhere along the way.
Oh well, it wouldn't have lasted more than 10 minutes anyway.
Right. I'm Kin, and I am excited to be here. I sound a little flailing, unlike my usual optimistic self.
Jaffin seems like the kind of guy, like the kind of older guy who probably does spend some time harmlessly flirting with much younger women. But there aren't any much younger women for him to flirt with, so he won't.
I could become one.
Elden has the power.
So I want to steer the conversation toward the elders. Like, we would like to talk to them, see what's going on in the town, deal with this conflict with the Varjellen village.
Deal with it? What do you mean? This Jeffin says.
Yeah, people keep starting fights, and the Varjellen aren't happy, and it sounds like the humans are really suspicious of the Varjellen. It's not a good situation for people who live so close together. You're not going to survive.
What are you going to do?
Get along?
No, I mean, what are you going to do?
I'm going to talk to the elders of your town and figure out, like, the source of this, and then we can take the next step. And by I'm going to talk to the elders, I mean Elden's going to talk to the elders.
I explained to the brother, we are hoping to establish, an outpost and trade with some of these areas. It is of mutual benefit for us to have a peaceful series of relationships, so that this is a safe place and our outpost is a safe place, and perhaps even we might be able to exchange supplies with Red Ridge. This is not only of out of goodness for your community, but you understand the need for mutual peace, correct?
Sure, I see your point of view, Jaffin says, and Ulrenic says, yeah, I think it sounds great. And you should see, they've got this outpost they're working up. right pretty much equidistant between the two places. At least that's what they tell me. I think it'll be great.
Alrenic, did you
So
say?
Alrenic is definitely on board. Jaffin is just like, okay, whatever. But he finishes his meal, and you all have a pretty good meal. At some point, can you see like when Jaffin is getting out some bread and whatnot for you, like this might be the most of the food that they have or that Jaffin has. Like that cupboard doesn't have very much else in it.
I will do my best to sort of subtly suggest that everyone sort of mindfulness, even if they're not, right? To sort of not continue to deplete their stores. If I can get away with that without embarrassing our hosts.
Okay, well, what do you say?
I probably just sort of I'd probably try to catch people's eye and sort of, motion. I mean, I'm assuming that people are receptive to this because we already kind of knew that we were coming to a town that didn't have a lot of stores. And so I just sort of try to catch everyone's eye and, motion to the cupboard and I will probably be the first one who says, I don't think that I can, I don't think I can eat anymore, but you're such a great host. Thank you so much for offering your food to us.
Rennick says, oh, come on, you must be hungry. It was a long trip here.
We took a little bit off your meat before we gave you the wagon. I'm all good. Thank you so much, though.
All right, I'll take her portion then, Ulrenic says. His portion, sorry. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to keep doing that just because I'm stuck in it.
Hey, Kuo, is a granary the sort of thing that you would be able to build?
Sure. Although stocking it was another matter. I feel like we need to speak with the town leaders. Which, Ulrenic, did you say they were named Agata and Vorn?
Mm-hmm. That's them.
Could we all try and meet with them tomorrow morning? And you could come with us since you know us, and we could try and see if there's anything that we could do other than just start helping you find a new source of food. Because this seems kind of alarming.
Oh, everything will be fine, Ulrenic says.
Oh, okay.
We've been through worse. Jaffin kind of lets his guard down a little bit and gives a worried look, but doesn't say anything.
What do you think, Jaffin? You've been here while your brother's been off adventuring.
He says, I'm sure we'll be fine. And Ulrenic says, especially if we can set up some new trade with, what's the name of your town again?
Neon.
Oh, yeah.
I also want to ask, there's a strange device just past the granaries. What goes on in there? It seemed to be whirring something like a crucible itself.
Jaffin says, you mean the temple?
Ah. Yeah, is it what lies within?
He says, the goddess.
Ooh. May we know the goddess's name?
Yeah, it shouldn't have. She watches over Red Ridge. She always has. Brings us information and prosperity.
That sounds truly like a wonder. Perhaps
you should go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talk to the priestesses.
Do we need to? Sorry, Keen, go ahead.
Does she watch over the Vargellen as well?
I don't know. Never thought about it. They don't ever go to the temple. Never heard anybody talking about the Vargellen worshiping, having faith, and
interesting.
never gave it much thought.
Can we just walk into the temple, or is there like a special day for prayer?
Oh, you can go there on prayer day, but you can go there any other time too.
Mhm.
All right.
Maybe after this meal, we can walk on down and take a gander, I say.
Sure, it's always good to stretch your legs after a meal. Jeffin says, "I'll let you younger folks go and do that while I clean up." And so the meal wraps up, and
I kind of put
Rennick
on.
is happy
Great.
to take you to the temple.
I'm going to put on my try not to look too obviously Arvargellan disguise, but then we'll head out.
Okay, so it is dark, um, but there's a you can see the moon, and it's a clear night, lots of stars in the sky. So it's not like pitch black or anything, and the streets have some lights to them, just like lights from inside the houses and things of that nature. So you make your way there. It's kind of chill, as you know, as night draws near, but it's not really cold or anything. And you can hear an interesting animal noise that's kind of that you don't recognize. And it seems to be kind of coming from far away, but it's sort of this repetitive trilling noise. And Ulrinic leads you. You know, you're at no point in Red Ridge are you very far from the temple, so it takes you 2 minutes to walk there. And like I said, it's sort of surrounded by stone steps, and the stone steps lead up to this very open structure. But you have to actually enter it before you really can kind of take in what's in the middle of it, because this entire structure is clearly built around what looks like a very elongated stone. The stone itself must be 30 feet high and maybe 10, 12 feet across. And it's very, very irregular shaped. It to your eyes, it has kind of a ropey appearance, like a big coil of stone rope that's just very haphazardly coiled up together.
Ooh.
And it tapers at both the top and the bottom, and it turns, and it seems to be just, at first you think it's perfectly balanced on the ground, but then you realize it's actually not even touching the ground. It's about 6 inches off the ground, so it's floating in midair and just turning. And there is the feeling of age to it, like what you're looking at is something aeons old, inside a structure that is, maybe 50 years old. And as you come in, Ulrinic, not with a lot of familiarity, but with some bit of sort of ritualized behavior, he kind of bows to this spinning stone and whispers something, but you can't quite make out what it is. And then he turns to you and he says, "Shunanov, our patron and our savior," he says, kind of with some built up sort of bravado.
Hello, Shunanov.
It is an honor, and I attempt to emulate that bow.
Okay. There is no reaction from the spinning stone thing.
Are there any priests that we can see?
There's nobody else here.
If our guide will allow it, I'd like to take sort of a walk around the room and see if there are any other, artifacts or places to sit. Just trying to understand maybe what goes on here. Is there, it said that this gives information. I guess I could ask, how does the goddess communicate with information to your priestesses, or is that a great mystery? Or
They have dreams. They have dreams that the goddess speaks to them. Apparently, that's how they get to be priestesses. She doesn't speak to everybody, just the priestesses.
I am eager to meet one of the priestesses, but during our time here, surely they must have great knowledge.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be here, come daylight.
Kuo would just like to kind of walk around and get close without being, putting his hand inside the structure. But at some point, once he gains a little bit of, if he sees anything, he would like to use his knowledge of understanding Numenera to see if he can learn more.
Okay.
Numenera, not a goddess in the shape of a stone.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for that.
All right, I'll apply 2 levels of effort,
Ooh.
so I'll reduce the difficulty by 3, ease it by 3, and I roll a natural 18.
Nice. Okay.
Awesome.
Out of 1.
That's a great roll, and you reduced the difficulty by 3, eased it by 3. So, cool. You're seeing signs that indicate that there's much more here than meets the eye. That this isn't just a gigantic oddity of a stone that happens to be floating and spinning, but you think that this thing, even though it looks like a weirdly shaped rock, it is far more than that, and it is in fact probably an extraordinarily complex device. Or mechanism, or mechanical something, artificial.
I will say
something.
this is something extraordinary, without going into the device part.
Ulrich just looks pleased that you're pleased.
My cells surely can use refreshment and rest. Shall we set up camp nearby outside the can you recommend a place for us to set up camp and sleep for the night? It sounded
Ulrich
like
says you can stay at my house and we'll make room.
Is that going to put them? Do I know if that's going to put them out, or do I think there's room for us to sort of lay out bedrolls? I feel like
there's room for your bedrolls on their floor. I mean, yeah.
That is very kind. We hope we can repay you going forward.
Repay me? You saved my life.
I'm still going to want to get up early and either buy some food or find some animals outside of town that I can hunt and bring back.
Well, you like I said, the cart that you made is still in front of their house, but the meat wasn't there, and you saw no sign of the meat in the house either.
Oh, what?
They probably gave it away.
Oh.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Hey, Lorenic, did Jeffin get that meat, or did you give it away to other people in the town?
Oh, we gave it to other people who needed it more than us.
That was very nice of you.
We have to help this town. It is now mission priority. I love these people so much.
So I think the plan is I'm going to go hunt early, and then we need to talk to the elders and to the priests.
Okay. You can make another roll for your hunting, see how well you do, and then the rest of you tell me the next morning if do you want to talk to the elders or the priests first. Ulrich will guide you to either one.
Priest, please.
Priests.
Yep.
Okay.
Ken wants to be a priest.
I rolled a 4 again.
Okay.
Ken would make
So
a great
you
priest.
Did you ease it at the same amount?
Yes.
I have
Okay.
1 more XP. I can give it to you, Tayrog.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Squirrels.
You catch some. You get some stuff. You get some game, but it's not a bounty. And then are you gonna give that to Jeffin and Ulrenic, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be like, hey, I found breakfast.
They Jeffen is happy to help clean that and prepare it for you. All right. And takes the seasonings that he has and turns it into a decent breakfast of mostly meat and some leftovers from the night before. And then you return to the temple with Ulrenic. Jeffen's still staying behind again. And this time when you come back to the temple, there are two women, and they have very sort of elaborate headdresses that have kind of partial veils that cover the top half of their face, and they have kind of red and white robes, and they are both of them, as you come into the temple, are bowing before the spinning stone, but as you enter, they rise, and the older of the two women says, Ulrenic, you have returned, and you bring strangers. She says, looking at particularly at Galen. Elden. Why do I say Galen? Elden.
Sometimes my name is fluid too. An old name. I certainly sort of make sort of a half version of the bow that I saw Ulrenic do yesterday to the priestesses, and then I make the full bow toward the spinning stone, but I'll let him explain. I don't want to alarm them.
So Ulrenic, being Ulrenic, just says, yeah, these people are from some other town, and they want to maybe establish some kind of relationship and trade with us, and they want to talk to you.
Yes, so hopefully we will not be strangers so long, and soon to become friends.
The older woman says, she kind of gives a nod, and she says, I am Shuna Aran. This is Shuna Abi.
So pleased to meet you, you Shuni goddesses, priestesses of the goddess. It must be a great honor to serve something so extraordinary, I say.
It is our honor and our responsibility.
I actually kind of look at Kin because she's the one that spoke up first about going, and I say, Kin here.
I would like, please, the stone to tell me dreams. Thank you.
Have you had dreams of prophecy and knowledge?
No, how do I make that happen? It seems like it would be amazing.
It is not for us to wish it. It is only for us to accept it.
I accept you, Big Stone.
We appreciate your enthusiasm, Shuna Aran says.
I whisper to Kin, I could probably find you a Zog lizard around here somewhere. It'll have the same effect.
Do you think I have to be a girl? They're both girls.
Elden sort of speaks up. I am Elden. I am a Varjelin from our community of Neon, but I do want to assure you and the goddess and...
You are not from the nearby community.
Correct. They are strangers to me, although of my kind. I wish you no harm, and I hope you can come to accept me along with my my companions.
We did not know there were Varjelin in the outer world, as well as here. We do not have much contact with other places.
Hmm. That, in fact, is our aim here, to establish, like Red Ridge, Neon is a bit sequestered. We hope to establish further contact with communities such as your own, and establish trade routes, and find what we have to offer one another in peaceful interaction.
You should speak with Agata and Vorn.
Indeed, we intend to.
I cannot speak for the community. I can only speak for the goddess.
Would
What does the goddess say?
The goddess has not spoken of you or your home of Neon.
What does the goddess say of the fields withering and the burning granary?
She assures us that only through tribulation can one grow. And that it should not deter us from the path.
Well, my friends, I'm ready to talk to the elders now.
Kuo says one more thing though. So what is the path?
To obey the edicts of Shunanov, that she speaks to us through our dreaming minds.
There's no overriding principle. It's just kind of whatever you say the dream was most recently. All right, better get me out of here.
Yeah, and doesn't that sound amazing?
I don't understand your question.
We are overwhelmed in our amazement at such power and such blessings from the goddess. But you are correct that our business currently need be with your elders. Thank you for showing us entrance to this temple, and for accepting our presence here. And then I'm going to try to make a graceful but swift exit.
Okay.
Ditto.
They both nod and bow and watch you leave.
Okay. Ulrinic, where are these leaders of yours?
Oh yeah, let's go talk to them at their house.
Excellent. As we're on the way, Kin, do you still want to be a priestess?
Yes, I don't know why you guys were dragging me out of there, and like there are things. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna close my eyes, and that stone is gonna talk to me, and it's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna tell you all smart things, and I can't wait.
Well, Rennick kind of shakes his head and he says, "I'm sorry to say this, but at least for as long as I've been around, the only people that the goddess speaks to are women. I mean, they're all priestesses."
The goddess hasn't met me.
There it is.
I just kind of shake my head and say, look, I just don't put much stock in any religion that lets children go to bed hungry. So,
Ooh.
How are priestesses?
What do you mean by that?
I don't see the goddess, providing food to these starving kids in your town.
How do you know things wouldn't be worse without her?
How do I know that ghosts won't fly to my eyes if I sneeze?
Because you've sneezed and I've seen it, and that did not happen.
Could be invisible ghosts.
I want to grab Tayrog's arm.
Okay.
I don't know if he lets me.
Hey, I said no offense.
Here's one of those awkward situations I'm trying to save you from, I whisper.
All right. Well, he takes you to a house, and outside the house, there is a woman. She's tall and muscular, and she's got a bunch of tools, and she is busy fixing the roof of her house. And she's got a hammer. She's pounding away, and Ulrenic comes up and says, excuse me, Agata, I've got visitors from another town here. And she takes the nails out of her mouth that she's got, and she kind of climbs down off of the short little ladder that she's up on, wipes kind of the sweat and dirt from one hand and holds it out in greeting. And she says, visitors, what? It's got to be a year since somebody came from outside of the town.
We are so welcomed by your community. We are from Neon, and I maybe let my full head fin elongate. It is a community some distance away, but we are hoping to communicate with nearby communities and perhaps establish trade routes. These are my compatriots. We have Tayrog, Kinalt, and Kuo. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Well, it's good to meet you. My name's Agata. My husband Vorn and I, we sort of watch over Red Ridge and guide it. What brings you all the way from wherever Neon is?
The trade route. We want to establish trade with your town.
And an outpost nearby to facilitate that.
What do you bring in trade?
What are some of the valuable aspects of Neon? We definitely raise those herd beasts, those lovely herd animals. What else do we have to offer?
Those are called. Where are they? Damn. Bora. Right. They're like oxen-like. And you've got a number of foodstuffs and crops and whatnot. And in fact, Tayrog, you would say, you've got in Neon, there are probably some crops that might fare better than the crops that they're trying to grow down here.
They're some seeds and stuff.
They're hardier and maybe even better for this climate than what they're trying to grow here. But your town also produces a lot, because of the Bora, like a lot of leather goods and things like that. You've got wood-crafted materials and whatnot from the forest, not far away. You're actually farther from the forest here than in Neon. So a variety of things. You don't have access to the good stone that they clearly have here, for example.
Yeah, I'll start that conversation about kind of things we have to offer, but also, even with who we brought, we have quite a lot of experience. And
you're interrupted again.
Ooh.
A voice from behind you. Just someone on the street, because you're in front of her house, and someone just says, "Go back to the river. We don't want you here."
Elden kind of gets small, and turns back. Is it one person or is it a number of people?
It's one person that's with a couple of other people, and they kind of, in the way of people who shout things like that, are shouting that as they're walking away.
Okay. I'm
going to turn and just kind of follow and be like, "That's right, you keep walking or you shut your mouth."
And not the person who shouted, but another person, a guy, kind of a portly looking guy, maybe about 30 years old. He just turns around and he just says, "Why don't you mind your business?"
I'm going to get in the guy's face. Tayrog's a big guy.
Okay.
Yay, we're going to fight.
Oh, no.
Um,
I'm gonna yell just over the top of Tayrog's head. I go, trade route, peace.
at which point, Agata says, look, just calm down. Everything's fine. I'm talking to this Vargellan, so no one else needs to worry about them. And she says, sir, why don't you come back to you?
What's this other person
Oh,
doing?
to Tayrog.
Um, Kind of just glaring at you, trying not to lose face as you get into his.
I'll just give him a little smile, like I'm memorizing his face, and then I'll just turn my back on him and walk back, like I'm not
And
afraid of him.
And you can hear him say, as you turn and walk away, he says, Finn lover.
Oh, no.
You know what? I don't want to save this town of racists now.
Even humans can change. Okay.
Agata, how did that start?
What's going on here, Agata?
So
Sounds like some
bad.
sort of terrible situation.
Well, she says, things have always been a little rocky with the Vargellan. They're just. I hope you won't take any offense, she says to Elden. They're just so different. Every time, as long as I can remember, when we've tried to talk to them, it just didn't always work. But things have gotten really bad recently with the burning of the granary. There's a lot of people who are pretty sure that it was the Vargellan who burned it down, and well, I'm sure you've seen we're on hard times as it is, and that's taken things and made them a lot worse. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to make it through the winter, to be honest with you. But that's my concern. I'm not trying to put that on you. I'm just trying to explain why people are on edge and saying things that they probably don't really mean.
Is there any truth?
But if you can talk to those people and figure out what's going on and why they burned down one of our granaries, that would be of great use to us.
Perhaps we can investigate this whole thing. Do you have people here in town who saw Vargellan burn down the granary, or who were the first to claim that the Vargellan burned down the granary, that we could talk to them? Maybe we get to the bottom of this starting by gathering as much evidence as we can.
Well, I don't know how things are in Neon, but you know how things like these can get pretty out of hand and stories become truth and truth gets muddy. At this point, that was 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if you're going to get much straight answers. There are people who say they saw something, and I'm not exactly sure what to believe. If I thought for sure that it was the Vargellan who did that, we would have taken some action. But I don't know for sure. I haven't been able to find out, so we're just on guard. Mostly because, I mean, they've never done anything like that in the past. I mean, things have been strained, but not like this.
I think with Elden here on our side, we can help smooth things out for both villages.
We will certainly try. If there is any, if you think of any assets that may assist us in this effort, for instance, if the goddess has anything to say to help us in this matter or reveal some of the truth, please keep discussing that with us. But if you, perhaps we could get a closer look at the granary itself, if people's memory is not to be trusted as through no fault of their own.
Uh, you're free to go look whatever you want and consult the priestesses. I certainly have done that a fair bit myself.
What are the
We're just we're just afraid it's going to happen again. If it happens again, people are going to die.
Yeah. We will act swiftly.
I don't want things. I don't want to. I don't want to have a war.
We'll make sure that doesn't happen. We don't want anybody to starve.
I don't want people to starve more than I don't want a war.
Same here.
They've got plenty of food, but they eat things that we can't.
I've noticed that.
Well, it's what the goddess says.
Thank you for your time. Is the other leader, is the husband Vorn also home or?
No, he's out working in the field.
Okay. Perhaps we could speak with him and have him show us where any evidence he's found, or should we leave him be and investigate on our own?
You can talk to him if you want to. I, uh, I don't know that he's going to tell you anything different than what I've told you. I don't really know what you mean when you say investigate. I'm not sure what you're hoping to find. They didn't leave behind any, written notes or anything.
Certainly.
Maybe we can just move forward from here and broker some sort of peace between you if they promise not to do it again, and we can enforce that. Perhaps this was all some big misunderstanding.
So you think they did it too?
I don't.
We do not have enough information to know.
I would imagine it was some sort of accident because, as you say, while they are different, why would they cause this sort of tension that could lead to war? I doubt they want it either.
Well, some people say they want us to leave them alone.
I think that they think you want them to be driven out.
Many of us do now. People aren't sleeping well at night because they're afraid that they're going to come. It's not entirely rational. I mean, if it comes to conflict, we win. We outnumber them 10-1, 20-1.
We'll figure this out. In the meantime, Monty, as a third tier delve, I have an ability called Improved Community Explorer, which means that community adds +1 to its rank on tasks involving finding resources and locating new trade routes.
Nice.
So I just kind of want to focus my delvey wilderness energy on talking to people who do their hunting and do their crop finding, and try and help them out a little bit while we're working on a greater solution to this.
How much time do you have to spend doing that to affect?
Let me look that up.
Indicated.
If I can take the group aside while you're looking that up, if we can step away from Agata and let her continue her work.
Back to fixing your roof.
Yeah. I have a strange notion, but I am inexperienced with these matters, and I want your advice. I am able to turn myself and embody my female nature. Should I try that in hopes of achieving a dream? Or is that not how the Numenera work, Kuo? The mysteries of magic.
Become a priestess?
To get an insight from the goddess.
I would have to go and spend more time in that temple and see if that would work, but maybe.
Do we want to spend a day looking around, talking, assisting the community with its resource finding, or is that Tayrog, would you need more time to help them with your skills?
It doesn't specify in this ability, but considering that most community actions are like a week or a month, it's probably going to take a week or a month to kick in.
Yeah, I think just by spending time here, showing our good faith, and doing this sort of stuff, I think that will help us a lot in whatever we say going forward. And just by spending time here, maybe we can learn things from the other residents that once they trust us a little bit, perhaps they will, tell us stuff that they wouldn't otherwise, since we're strangers right now.
Yeah.
Start hunting, start helping. I can start building. I can rebuild the granary, that kind of thing. Maybe we can do that kind of plan and see if we can, help them move things forward.
I see two potential outcomes of this. Either I see two paths forward. We stay, we help this community, we attempt to be part of it and learn what we can from that. And very carefully watch the resources of the fields and the granaries for if there is subterfuge being enacted upon these resources. I don't want to leave these people to let the situation worsen, whether that is from nearby creatures or the Vargellan community or their own community members who want to enact war on the Vargellan. I'm not sure who it is at play, so either I think we work very hard to help defend them and watch for a week, or we try to deal with the issue as fast as possible and go speak to the Vargellan today or tomorrow. But I do not know which is the right course of action.
I think that spending time to learn more is the right action, because going back to the Vargellan now, we have nothing. We've learned nothing other than yes, there is tension. You're right.
I agree with that. Kin, do you have a sense?
The Vargellan kept asking us what we brought, right? What we had to offer. Like, do you know what they wanted? Because we weren't giving them the right answer, and I felt like if we could figure that out and say, here it is, then we could solve that part of the problem pretty easily, because it sounds like this part's going to take forever.
Yeah, interesting. Perhaps there's someone in this community who has had more interaction with those Vargellan who could tell us more. Perhaps we can ask around for that.
I say we divide and conquer. I'm going to stay here and sleep and get a dream, and then we split up, and half of us work one town and half of us work the other. Then they'll all be friends.
How about we take the night to see what the dreams tell us and reconvene in the morning? So spend a day helping out. I rearrange myself to embody my female nature and see if my bringing on my identity as a woman in this form and in this embodiment will shift anything.
And the two towns are only 10 minutes apart, so we can easily walk back and forth to talk to both sides if we need to.
Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of an info dump, and then as we get ready to wrap this session up. But I'm going to assume that you, as you've just described, you're going to spend some time here, talk to people, help people get a better feel for the situation. You are welcome to stay with Jaffin and Ulrinic. Continue to stay there. Particularly if you're going out and bringing in food, you're making their life better, not worse, by living with them. So here's some of the things that you learn. You learn that as soon as you begin talking, this is specifically Tayrog, as soon as you begin talking to people about, here's another way to get food, and here's, you're helping them figure that out, you quickly learn that they have lots of restrictions about what they are allowed to eat. And you realize that when Agata said that the Vargellan can eat things that we can't, you suddenly realize that she wasn't talking about physiology. She wasn't talking about biology. She was talking about religion. And for example, according to the priestesses, Shunanov has declared that fish are unclean and unedible. And despite the fact that that river is just filled with all kinds of fish, the town has nothing to do with that. But the Varjellen eat mostly fish, and you you learn that a lot of what Agata said seems to hold true for the rest of the town. That um, most people like don't want to go there and just commit violence against the Varjellen because they're not 100% sure. But at the very most, even the most Varjellen friendly human in Red Ridge is really kind of wondering if maybe the Varjellen are the ones who burned down the granary. And there are plenty of people, maybe an almost at this point unrealistic number of people who said, yeah, they saw some Varjellen running away from the burning granary.
Right.
If during that time, it sounds like you'd try to spend a little bit of time with the Varjellen. Particularly you, Elden, learn that there is a Varjellen that you haven't yet met who lives on their own, not in the rest of the community. And that's because they have been branded an outsider by even their own people.
Wow.
And they were just so disruptive that they had to be asked to leave. I mean, it's not anything worse than that. But this Varjellen's name is Delix, and Delix believes that Varjellens are native to the earth, and humans did not originate here. And so it, by the rest of their standards, is very anti-human. And is angry, seems to be angry that the humans are so arrogant and whatnot. So that's over the course of almost a week. That's basically what you learn. So next time, maybe we can delve further into this diplomatic morass and see what happens.
Excellent. So Elden's dreams are uneventful, sadly.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I forgot. Probably the most important part. Elden begins to have strange dreams.
I'm sorry, Kin.
Does Kin though?
No.
Oh, okay.
Kin is so sad, but excited also.
But the dreams don't seem like messages or anything like that to Elden. Instead, it feels as though you go to sleep and it's like someone else's dreams intrude upon yours. It's almost like you begin to have like a normal dream that you normally have when you go to sleep, and then suddenly everything changes and it's like you're looking at someone else's dream, and it makes no sense at all. And there are people speaking languages that you don't understand, and the people are neither human nor Varjellen. They're some kind of intelligent creatures, and they're talking. Nobody's really talking to you. It's like you're spying on someone else's dream.
Cool. All right.
So there's not really any prophecy or message or anything there. Just very, very strange occurrence.
Excellent. Should we
And
leave
it's every night.
every night? Okay. I'm fascinated, but I can gain no insight into this. Is that where we should leave it, or is there any other final bits of information before we pick up in 2 weeks?
Um, we'll wait until next time. Maybe you can find out more about those dreams or the dreams that other women seem to be having.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is that so? So we have that the week of vignettes. Is there anything else we're doing this session, or is that where we're closing it?
No, that's where we'll wrap things off.
All right.
We can start next time with this new information. You have, you're helping, especially Tayrog. You're improving the community's outlook a little bit. So that's definitely something. And so you spend that week and definitely, kind of ingratiate yourself a little bit more into Red Ridge, and no one's staring at you like you're a strange outsider anymore. So that will probably be helpful next time too.
All right, chat. We want to hear who you think did it. We want to hear your theories about the great let's see, the Great Red Ridge conspiracy. But other than that, we'll pick this up again in 2 weeks. This is really fun. I'm very curious. So we should end with a few plugs. Thank you, Monty, for jamming such a lovely session. So we hit. We're getting pretty close to a stretch goal now for your best game ever. So we're only about $5,000 away from getting to, let's see, this one is expanding Godforsaken, I believe. Am I right?
Correct.
Excellent. And we're getting closer and closer to the backer stretch goal of trying to get, 3,500 backers to get these really cool player and GM notebooks that are system agnostic. So they'll be helpful for you no matter which games you're running or playing. And I really, really, really want those because I'm a bit of a notebook lover, and I adore, your best game, the guiding hand from Invisible Sun. So now I'm like, there are things I could do instead of just computer paper that would make my life better as I note take. So I'm very excited for those. Anybody else? Shauna, is there something you're excited that's kind of coming close? Maybe. Uh-huh.
So everybody hit the stretch goal so I can talk about it.
Yeah. There's a particular image that doesn't have any explanation yet. I posted it in chat, so go check it out. Go be curious. Chewy's here to help me out as we discuss. There's a couple. Yeah, there's some really great things still happening this week on Twitch that I want you to know about, everybody. So on Wednesday, tomorrow, I will be on a Roll20 panel talking about Burn Bright, a game that I got to work a little bit on with some other fantastic folks who that sort of built with working with Roll20 in mind. So I did a lot of work with weird slugs and weird critters, so definitely come on and hang out with me and James Introcaso and Jim McClure and Cat Cool. So that will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. On Friday, we will have episode 2 of Callisto 6, which is this amazing show by Geek and Sundry and Eric Campbell and the team that was behind Shield of Tomorrow, which was a Star Trek show on Geek and Sundry. But Callisto 6 is this super cool Cypher system powered custom world of superheroes and cyberpunk, and it was awesome. Cool costumes, great performances. So we really enjoyed that first episode that happened last week, and so that's going to be Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. So that is going to be starting with like 1 hour left on the Kickstarter for your best game ever. So come watch that show and count down the seconds until the Kickstarter closes. And don't hesitate if you're excited to back or if you're curious about what you're going to get. Watch this Kickstarter closely the next few days and tell a friend, because it's already getting to be a really, really good deal for tons of those backer levels. And people are always sad when they miss out on our Kickstarters. So this is our official entreaty to not be sad after the Kickstarter ends. Don't let your friends be sad. There's a game of Predation happening on Saturday. I'm going to tweet out some more information about that. And on Sunday, there's going to be a panel from a number of Numenera actual play streams and podcasts talking about streaming and talking about Numenera and actual playing. So That's going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific on Sunday, which is a little early for some of us, but will totally be worth checking out. So we'll host it on our channel, and you'll get to see all of that goodness. And other than that, we will pick back up in 2 weeks on the next Tuesday as we find out what is the truth behind the Red Ridge conspiracy, hopefully.
And if you're at DragonCon, come and see Monty and I.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Chewy wants to go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for chat.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.